I'm not saying I was playing Ludacris in Too Fast, Too Furious. It wasn't too far of a fucking stretch from it.
Yo, Jimmy, man, give me the status. Tell me we good. Beautiful. It's gonna be an all time of the night. All right, fire 'em up!
It's going to be an all-timer today, and that's because we're joined by Chris Ludacris Bridges, also affectionately known as Tej Parker. Luda, welcome to our binge of Fast and Furious.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. What's going on?
Happy to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, we're so excited to talk to you, especially excited that we're chatting Too Fast, Too Furious, which I always believe is the greatest title in film history. Do you agree or disagree?
Man, you know what? Off the top of my head, I think there is one that is better. If it comes to me during this podcast, I will let you know. But it's up there with the best of them. But I don't know if it's the absolute best title.
Yeah, I always feel bad for all the rest of the movies, when like the Fast movies that come out, because I feel like it's hard to even Fast 5's a great title, but it's like, to me, there's just that something about the Too Fast, Too Furious that can never fully be topped.
It's a marketing tool all within itself. So you're 100%.
Yeah, it's the one people reference for everything. You have a sequel to anything, they Too Fast, they play on it. So it's iconic.
You know, I'm sitting here I was trying to be, maybe there's a better title. But now that I think about it, you might be onto something, because when people think about sequels, they try to add that two to it because of that. So it may have set a precedent instead of a whole trend. So I take everything back. You're right. Too Fast, Too Furious is the best title for all movies, because it set the stage for a whole bunch of other sequels and people putting two in the damn second name in the name.
Yeah.
For the 15th anniversary a couple years ago, I wrote something about Too Fast, and I literally titled the article "Too Fast, Too Underrated." So it just gives so many opportunities for that kind of wordplay. So we have to appreciate anything like that. So we start out each of these episodes by we quote the great Dominic Toretto. You know, he lives his life a quarter mile at a time. Nothing else matters for those 10 seconds or less. He's free. How would you summarize Too Fast, Too Furious in 10 seconds or less?
I would summarize it as ludicrous. Hell yeah.
I mean, it's just factually correct.
That was a half a second. You didn't even need 1 second.
Yeah, done.
You would have won that race for sure. I mean, what is the first thing you think about when you think back to Too Fast, Too Furious?
Man, it's just pure joy, because a lot of people don't realize or know that John Singleton had me try out. I was on tour with Eminem at the time, and I got the call, and I realize it now, because I believe Ja Rule was supposed to get this part, and they couldn't come to an agreement or something like that. And at the last minute, they had to hurry up and fill this character's role. And so me being on stage, I just remember getting right before getting on stage, I was in my dressing room, and someone told me, you have to try out for this part. They only have like 1 day, so you got to put it on tape now, and here's the sides, and you got to do it. I'm like 15, 20 minutes from going on stage. I'm looking over the sides, and I'm like, here's a great opportunity. Let me just give it the best that I have within the time frame. And I did it. And I got the call the next day. John Singleton told me I got the part. So when you ask me what's the first thing I think of, it's that crunch situation of, am I going to get this part? I don't know. I don't have too much time to even think about being nervous about reading these lines or nothing. I just got to do the shit. And I did it. And the rest is fucking history, man.
I mean, how'd that performance go that night? I mean, you're rushing to do the sides, and obviously that comes easy to you. So maybe you probably didn't need that last 15 minutes to get ready for that.
Yeah, the hard part was trying to act. Fucking rapping is what I did on a daily basis. So on stage was perfectly fine. I was like, this is new to me. But to go into what you're saying, the whole Too Fast, Too Furious experience just brings me so much joy. One of the greatest stories I have is that, because nobody had ever worked with me on a movie set, there's this, stereotype that rappers get, sometimes rightfully so. And I just remember being called on set, 2-3 hours before I was actually really supposed to be there. And I didn't realize till after the movie, they thought I was going to show up late every day. They thought I'd have a whole 50 fucking people entourage with me every day, hanging around the trailer, weed smoke all over the place, loud ass music blasting, messing up the whole damn scene, everything. I did none of that stuff, man. I showed up professional. I was grateful for the opportunity. So I was kind of pissed that I was sitting in my trailer for 2 or 3 hours. When do we shoot? Like, when is this going to happen? That's what the hell's going on with me.
Do you remember what was the first thing that you shot when you got to set that first day?
The first thing I shot was the fucking opening scene. Believe it or not. So that whole thing where I was like, light them up, light them up. The very first scene of the entire movie with my afro all the way out. That was my first time on camera performing on a movie of that caliber, period.
Such an all-time intro. Like, Fast really nails the intros. Like, with Vin in the first movie, they kind of set it up from behind, just kind of like they do for you in Too Fast. You know, Dwayne gets an incredible intro in Fast 5, like, and it's something they do so well. What was your relationship? Were you with the first Fast movie? You know, you get the call for Too Fast. Were you a fan of that original? Had you already checked it out? Where were you at with that?
Of course, man, I was a fan, and I was just so happy that you have this subculture that just literally broke wide because, you know, anybody knows, not only myself, but just, you know, coming from a certain place, our cars are our world, man. I do all my writing with my music in my car. People know about this Acura Legend. If you follow me on social media, I've had pretty much my whole life racing, doing donuts, anything you can think of. This whole culture of just your car being your world has always been something I've been a part of. And then to see the movie come out, it was the first one of its kind that really just hit that emotional button that connected how we feel about our vehicles and you know, in life. Did
being in the Fast movies sort of elevate how into car culture that you were?
I would say 100%. So all these Nas tanks and making your car go, like, we knew to take the I think it's called the governor. Like, you can take the governor off of certain things, even if we had go-karts and things of that nature. You need a motorized vehicle. But when you started seeing the movie and you started seeing them putting tanks to make their cars go faster, we were like getting all type of ideas. So I would say it opened my eyes 100% to a lot more than what we were used to.
And also something, like you mentioned, the Acura, what I would love to see, and if you would ever be open to it, Tej in the Acura in a movie. Like, I feel like just give the car an opportunity to be a hero would be amazing. Just one time at least.
He probably doesn't want to risk it, though.
I agree.
These
you
cars
wouldn't
go
want to
through
risk
some
it
damage.
because you don't want to take anything of our real lives and try and put it in the movie. So you got to keep those worlds separate. If Vin can jump out of a fucking moving vehicle 15 times and you don't even see any blood on his arm, I don't think they want to cross these two worlds.
You mentioned this was like your first major role. You obviously, you know, Word of Mouth had just come out just before you guys did Too Fast, and that was a smash. You had done a cameo in The Wash, but obviously that was a small little thing. So, like, were there any nerves in kind of preparing to take on, you know, such a major role in such a, you know, big movie?
100%, man. That's a great question. I was nervous as hell. And I think what made me comfortable was John Singleton himself, man. May he rest in peace. Yeah. He made me feel extremely comfortable, especially during that opening scene. After that, I was ready to go. And, you know, I remember having these pep talks with him and making sure, are you sure we got the take? I could do it again. I want to make sure this is my first real movie debut. I want to make sure it's right. He really was just great in terms of making me feel confident.
Later on in the movies, improv becomes such a big part of what you and Tyrese do. But did that start in Too Fast? Did you get to play around like that too? Did John give you that space?
Yeah, I got to play around a little bit. But if you recall, me and Tyrese's characters weren't as close as we were in the latter. So I was kind of on my own, and I kind of stuck more to the script just because I was establishing this character as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you have conversations with John about kind of the background of Tej? Like, I know in Fast 5 we get the great kind of you know, line of like, I had a life before you knew me, O'Connor. So what were those conversations like with John?
They were, man, because there was a lot of me trying to figure out why I have to have a limp Fast and Furious, because I had gotten a car wreck or something like that. And it's funny, in Fast 5, my leg is perfectly fine. I have no more issues with my leg. But I guess you take a couple years, maybe it healed, whatever. But that was one of the things, you know, having the backstory and trying to understand how much of a hustler he is. But we didn't go too in depth because, you know, he didn't want to drown me in in character, but enough to get in the mindset of where this character lives and how he acts and, you know, who he is.
Obviously, you work with Paul Walker in the movie, and he's already been in the Fast 1 movie. What was it like to sort of meet him and be welcomed into the universe in that way? Like, did he help sort of bridge, you know, movie 1, movie 2, and like all of that stuff? What was it like talking to him and getting to know what the world was in that way?
Man, we were probably our birthdays are like one day apart, man. In terms of just characteristics and personality, I think him and I were the closest on set between anybody, and he definitely helped, man. He definitely makes you feel confident just because he's so down to earth. He's so extremely humble. He'll tell you straight, what it is, and just his energy, man. I miss that energy so much. So to answer your question, I agree. Yes, he definitely was one that always was willing to have the conversation and help out as well, and be a joy on set with whenever you were in the scene with him.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Play with it. Smells good, don't it?
Yeah, about that right there.
Right. Y'all see this? Everybody take a real good look. This is what you call mutual respect.
You come in to this one, joining Paul, but also Tyrese does as well. How well did you know Tyrese coming into this? Obviously, you guys have, really been doing big things in music. So were you guys already, familiar with each other and know each other coming in?
Hey, Tej Parker, Roman Pierce.
We really got cool on the movie set. We didn't really know each other like that beforehand. I'm sure we came across each other's paths, but on Too Fast, Too Furious, we were shooting in Miami, so that should let you know right there. We became really cool on that movie set, man, and being in Miami and having fun on and off set.
So what's it been like then developing this, kind of hilarious odd couple dynamic over the years between Tej and Roman? Obviously, it delivers, so many great moments.
Man, it does, man, and I just love that they give us a certain amount of freedom to do us. Obviously, we'll say whatever they want us to say on script, and then obviously they'll give us one or two more takes, and we just go crazy. And a lot of times, what they end up using is some of the stuff that we just came off the head with, and I think that's what makes people love, our dynamic so much. And it's like that off screen as well, man. We just like to have fun. When you look back at it, all the memories that we've had, and not only cracking the whole cast up, but cracking each other up, it's definitely something that'll make you smile each and every single time, man.
Obviously, that really takes off in Fast 5.
Oh, you still can't drive. See, now I see why you always get into accidents. You can't even drive a damn remote control car.
I'm gonna need you to shut up right now.
I'm not gonna shut up.
Did you feel the seeds of what that dynamic could be at all when you were doing Too Fast? Like, you didn't overlap a ton, but you share a little bit of time on screen.
Man, it's funny you asked that, because we didn't really, because we were so focused on just delivering what we were supposed to deliver for that particular movie. Mm-hmm. And then when it came to 5, it was just like, okay, now we get to play with it a little bit more. But we weren't, because our relationship in Too Fast, Too Furious was completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great question. I never even thought about that. Great.
I mean, we have to talk Act a Fool. Such a great song on his own, but then a great song that fits perfectly into the film. And I mean, first, I love it. Always an incredible heat check to me when a musician can be in a movie and then not playing themselves, and then one of their songs is also in the movie. It kind of almost breaks the fourth wall, which I love about that. But what was the process of making Act a Fool? I mean, was that something that they kind of asked you to do when you signed on, or how did that come about? And obviously, such a great hit.
Yeah, it was. John was the one who spearheaded that. He said, I need a song, and that's exactly what we did. And he was the director on the music video as well. Yeah, it is Ludacris in music, and then, Tej in the movie. But the good thing, humbly speaking, is that it wasn't too far of a stretch from my regular, everyday, ordinary, personality. So I kind of was able to play Ludacris to a degree because if it's my real first movie role, I think that's a great transition to not be able to go too far the first time. It's kind of like you're just learning the fundamentals of what's going on. So I'm not saying I was playing Ludacris in Too Fast, Too Furious. It wasn't too far of a fucking stretch from it. There you go.
Another person,
like Crash and Hustle and Flow and all that other stuff. Then we can, and even Law and Order, which they keep replaying now. That's where the real acting came into play. But let's just.
You don't want people thinking that's Ludacris in some of those roles.
right.
Exactly.
In Too Fast, you do have another person who is kind of your partner, which is Devin Aoki's character, Suki. What was it like working with her, and do you guys still keep in touch at all now?
Another great question. So obviously, I don't know if you guys know this, but her father started Benihana restaurant chain. Since I've been a kid, it's been my favorite restaurant of all times. And when I was shooting with her, don't get me wrong, she was great, and she still is great, and we still do talk, and I love her, like her personality, everything about her. But I was definitely trying to use the relationship to go to Benihana as much as I possibly could. And I think she knows that. I was very candid with her at some point. I love it because she took me one time, and I remember, the person bringing over just a blank piece of paper or something, and she just signed off on it. Because, her dad owns the whole entire,
Wow.
you can get whatever. I was ordering everything. They almost had to bring 2 chefs over to the fucking table. I wanted this is all free. I know the owner. I'm taking advantage of this opportunity. I made her take me to Benihana's probably like 8 damn times.
Do we think that's how Tyrese got Gibbsy Hana and didn't get any legal action taken against him? Is that how?
I don't think that had anything to do with it whatsoever. Because I don't think Tyrese was there with us. But when I tell you, I juiced that relationship, and in retrospect, I have to say, she knows it. So I'm saying I just saw her not too long ago in L.A. and I was just thanking her for the Benihana's food.
That's amazing.
That's so awesome. What there's so many great scenes in Too Fast, but do you have a personal favorite, whether you're in it or not?
Man, it is, but it would be very hard for you guys to. It was part of the racing scenes, and the reason it's one of my favorite parts is because they used to actually let us drive the cars.
Not
and
anymore.
they had extra cars on standby if we were to wreck one of them or so if something was to happen. So you have these cars, and then you have like 5 duplicate cars on standby. And so now recently, obviously because of liability issues, you get stuntmen that do most of the stuff so that we can continue shooting. But my best memories lie in the fact that I was actually driving some of those cars, and there was a scene where I know Paul Walker was driving one as well, and we just had so much fun being the Tom Cruises of today. Like, you're actually doing your own stunts. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, we still do some of our own stunts, but when it comes to those cars, very rare do they let us get the real nitty-gritty work done. It's like a whole second unit that gets to do.
All right. Let's race.
Speaking of favorites, I have to ask you. There's so many great quotes in this movie, but I gotta ask you, what gives you the biggest laugh or kick still? Tyrese's delivery of "We hungry,"
You got something to eat up in there? We hungry.
or Paul's all-time delivery of "I said forget about it, cuh."
I said forget about it, cuz.
Like, that's still, I just watch that on replay sometimes. It's just like, both of those are incredible. But like, I don't know. Do you have a
Definitely
personal
Paul
favorite?
Walker, forget about it.
Forget about it, cuz.
Only because we were laughing about that like way after the take. Like that, it was just like the running joke the entire rest of the movie. So funny. And he kept repeating it over and over.
I love too, the camera like zooms in on him too. Like, it's like the camera knows, okay, he's about to do it right now, and it just like cuts in on him,
Here it
and
is.
it's just so perfect.
Exactly. So yeah, John was in on it. Everybody was. They loved that, man. Gotta love it.
That's amazing. Back to the cars real quick. Like, so you got to drive them around. Is that part of what made you, I saw on Conan you saying that you bought a car from every Fast and Furious movie. Did it start with that and just getting to experience the different ones and picking out your favorites?
Not necessarily like doing the stunts, because on the first one I did buy that Louis Vuitton truck, and that was at the flashy stage of my life where it was just like, all this stuff, and it's so crazy because if you remember that story, I told them I had to like sell that car like
Right.
later. I couldn't even drive that in Atlanta. Everyone was following me, honking their horn, taking pictures. I'm like, this is what did I sign up for? This is not. And I got out of that flashy stage real quick. So there you have it.
Do you have a favorite one still now?
Oh, a favorite car from the movies?
Yeah.
Man, believe it or not, there's an old school box Chevy from 5. It's like one of the first scenes you see me and
When you
Tyrese
pull up,
driving in these old school cars. Man, there's a whole old school culture just, everywhere, but in the South especially, where you take these box Chevys and it's just like, it's a thing, man. You gotta love that.
That's nice.
You talked about earlier your introduction and you got the fro going, but like just in general, what was it like developing the look of Tej?
It was pretty easy because it was also the look of Ludacris at the time. It was braids, and sometimes your hair is all the way out. So again, easy, very great transition of my first movie role. I was pretty much doing the same damn things I did on videos. There you go.
So later on, then, when we get to evolve Tej's character and he's in more of the tech, like, what were your thoughts there? Like, what did you want him to become that you were excited to do? Like, what made you want to change it up?
Man, I love the fact that, he's an African-American, extremely intelligent, tech-savvy person. But I think what I love the most that is kind of like the not in your face, but it needs to be said, is that he's kind of the glue of all of the different characters, because they kind of rely on him in order to be the heart of these missions in terms of making that they all go out and they delegate duties and do certain things. But I'm kind of like the backbone of the entire operation, because if it wasn't for me putting all these strings together, then we wouldn't be able to do that. So I love being that character that's able to utilize my strengths to help the entire team and be that heart of the operation.
What's it like trying to deliver all that tech jargon? Do you even know sometimes the things you're saying? Because I'm watching and I don't, and I'm just like, I'm assuming Tej knows what he's talking about.
Sometimes I don't, but then I have to go talk to the writer and be like, yo, what the fuck is this, man? So at least if I got to do my best acting job, I need to at least understand what this is and not just read the words. But there was a part in 5 where I'm looking down at the camera, but I literally had my sides and I was actually reading the because it was so much tech jargon. But the good thing is that my eye line was right where the sides were. Me and Tyrese have a ball doing that sometimes, because we're technically not supposed to do it. But if your delivery and your performance is just as good and no one can tell, on every now and then,
Yeah,
you just do it, man. And it was a perfect time frame for me to do that. And I remember I was with a remote control car, I was looking down.
right.
If you go look back at that scene, I was reading the hell out of them damn
Bingo. What is that, 6x6?
8x12.
7x12. Fitted with 18-inch thick steel reinforced walls with an insulated copper core to protect against thermal lands. A Class 3 electronic lock with a surefire Griffin retumbler and a biometric palm scanner. 10 tons of top-of-the-line security.
Do I want to know how you know all that?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
I can say that now. I can talk about it.
So Too Fast comes out. It's obviously a hit. Did you expect you guys to all run it back together, or were you not surprised when it went in temporarily went in a different direction, with Tokyo Drift?
Oh yeah, man. We thought that was it. We thought it was a wrap. Never in a million years were we like, oh yeah, we about to come back and do even more. We had fun for what it was. And you got to think, it was 5 years in between 2 and 5? Something like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we had no idea. Absolutely no idea. And to get that call back, that's why you see us having so much fun, because we're like, yo, this is great. And by the way, I haven't seen 9 yet, and obviously we all love 7 for numerous reasons. I'm sure this is one of the questions, but 5 is my all-time favorite. My favorite of all of the franchise, 5. The way it's put together, the cinematography, the storyline, the characters, all of that. I just love 5 the most.
I mean, 5 is... Every movie is great. We love them all. But, I think 5 is no doubt, the best. I think it's the best action film, maybe ever. It's just...
oh, shit.
Yeah, I said it. I said it, Luda. I think ever.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go check it out. I got to go watch it again.
Yeah, it's so good. And then, too, we go right from the safe scene into Danza Kuduro, which I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what Don Omar's singing, but it's just kind of the perfect montage to wrap it up. So no, you will never. The anniversary's coming up too, so it's perfect timing to go rewatch Fast 5.
Sometimes we just say cliche things. Not with this movie. I'm saying in general. We would be like, yo, this is my best album, because you're trying to promote that album and you want it to sell. Justin looked me in my eye twice and said, Fast 9 is the best out of the entire franchise.
Oh,
that's a bold, like you said, he's not a guy who throws that kind of hyperbole around.
I said the same thing, bro. Listen, for him to say that, I can't wait to see it.
Oh my God.
Even more hype now. On Fast 5, though, the other thing that I always love to remember, and with the anniversary, I'm sure it will be talked about a lot because it should be, you guys did the huge team-up movie before Marvel and the Avengers. So, on top of it being a great movie, it's also, the best team-up movie I think that we have had.
It's my Avengers.
I agree.
I don't know.
You know what I will say? I've seen a lot of movies, and you were saying that 5 might be the best action scene. I definitely give 5 the best fighting scene between Vin and The Rock.
Oh, my
Most
gosh.
amazing fighting scene ever, and I loved it so much because it was like this was the first time you ever saw a slight kink in Vin's armor. Like it was the very first time, and it's like neither one of them lost and neither one of them won. It was so phenomenal, bro. But I will have to say I can't think of a better fight scene, pound for pound, second for second, than that damn scene.
It's just so punishing. That's the thing. Like, it's like you're sitting there watching, you feel like you're taking the punches. I mean, what do we think? Do you ever think what was Tej up to between 2 and 5? Like, did he go, maybe he got surgery to fix that lip?
Yes.
Maybe he went to ITT Tech? I don't know. Have you ever thought
I was just going to say, he got that leg. He replaced his leg between 2 and 5. And he definitely got some lessons in tech, or he never showed anyone that he had those skills. So, yes, 100%, bro.
We're going to wrap up with the what we call the final lap, where we do kind of some more fun, random questions. We'll start it off. So we're talking Too Fast. If you could bring another actor into Too Fast, we got a time machine or whatever. We're not replacing anybody. We're either bringing a totally new actor who hasn't been in Fast, or you can bring someone who doesn't show up until later and insert them in Too Fast. What would be your dream pick there?
That is a really good question, man. I've told people before. Wow. So it's either Matt Damon and or Tom fucking Cruise, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, now we're talking. Not to self-promote, but I wrote a story because obviously everyone's talking space with Fast. Tom Cruise is supposed to be making a movie where he's literally filming it in space. So I say just bring them together. That's the perfect solution. Right. Just have Tom Cruise as like the bad guy in space that you guys have to go stop.
So even more, I know I'm giving too much, but it's like Denzel Washington, man. If Denzel were a part of this franchise somehow after The Equalizer, it could play a role, because now you got you have the Helen Mirrens and you got these different people. I feel like it would be amazing if Denzel could come on too.
That's been a rumor. That was a rumor, I think maybe around 7. So, now we got we're getting towards the end. Maybe that finally becomes true.
Come back around.
Hopefully.
I do want to say, not again, so this might be controversial. I'm sorry to do this to Tej, the character, but I ranked a couple years ago who the fastest and furiousest, I think I made that word up, is in Fast and Furious. I did the top 10. I will say most people we've talked to have not enjoyed their slots. I have Tej 10th, just because he's not driving much, right? So he's not, one of the faster, and he's not furious. He's a chill guy. I mean, so
how many slots is it?
It was 10 out of 10, but not everyone qualified. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like Bow Wow didn't qualify. I would have had Tej ahead of Twinkie. No offense to Twinkie. So what do you think? Do you think it should be higher? Maybe F9 will change it. I don't know. Does that seem fair? Spot.
That's all good. That's perfectly fine. My character, but in real life, I'm in the top 3. Better believe that.
Literally, that would be 100%. I might have to do a whole new evaluation once we see the great F9.
Do we get to ever see Tej get involved in like a little hand-to-hand? Like everybody else fights, even if it's badly.
That was
F9. Fast 9.
Right. Oh, okay. And more coming.
I remember in 7, I had Natalie with me, and I did that one move where I punched I did the whole 52 thing and did all that. I took the 52 blocks. So there you go.
Yeah. See, to me, that should bump you up at least a little. That's a little furious right there.
It's all good. Listen, that's what I want. I literally love starting out where I did, so that every single time you see my character progress and do something out of the ordinary that you never thought that he would do. So I'm all with that, because there's room to grow, baby.
So let's jump to after Fast 11. We wrap up the main series. I mean, what do we think a Tej movie looks like? We know the Tej Roman spinoff has always been kind of rumored and talked about, but I don't know. What in your mind, what would a Tej vehicle look like?
Man, what's crazy is that I love how other franchises are able to do this, and sometimes the ones that are the sneakers and the ones that you least expect to be one of your favorites, it just out of the blue just kills, right? So I feel like Tej just has to be like the Black Panther of the Marvel Universe. It'll just surprise the hell out of you. You didn't know that this many people were like anticipating the Tej movie, just because you always thought that. So it's like putting the smarts together with the action. I think it has to be very intelligent. That's the way that I would say it. If it's one thing I love outside of the Fast franchise, is movies that are very, very intelligent where you have to figure things out, and it has so many twists and turns, and I love that.
Yeah, and I feel like in a lot of ways, Tez has the most mystery around like what he's been up to in his life. So there's a lot of room to play there.
Very true, right? Because Tyrese's character, you already know what the hell he's doing. Without even seeing it, he's just all about that life. So yeah, that's good. I like you say that mystery.
I mean, maybe I don't want to. Maybe we do Too Fast, Too Smart. I don't know. I feel like we got to bring back the Too Fast, title, use. I don't know. I feel like there's a way. So what would be, you already told us, I mean, F9 is going to be the greatest movie of all time, according to Justin Lin, but what would be your specific kind of...
He didn't say of all time. He said
that was me just deciding, because I already said Fast 5 is the best action movie of all time, so if F9 is better than Fast 5, it's just automatically taking that spot. So I'm being, adding my little context to that. But what would be your tease for what fans can expect when we finally get F9 in a few months?
My tease, I can now say this because I was saying it on the Twitter thing as well. I almost got in trouble because we had to keep us being in outer space a secret. So now it's okay to say. My tease is, people, we're going to outer space. Before Tom Cruise thought about it, we did it. So I'm letting you know right now, outer fucking space. There's nothing else that needs to be said. We're going to outer space. Shit.
I mean, is there one wish you have left for the end of Fast? I mean, we're wrapping up the main series, at least, with 2 more movies. But is there one thing you'd love to see or maybe do that you haven't been able to? What is it?
Great question. The only thing we haven't done, now that we've gone to space, underwater fight scenes.
Oh
yeah.
Let's go, baby. Hey, man, let me just tell y'all, I'm the luckiest human being alive, right? A rap career and a fucking movie career. These are the 2 top dream things that everyone in the world wants to do. Be a movie star and a rock star. And I'm actually living it out. It's surreal for me to even say that. I'm just telling you guys because I have to tell somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like the luckiest person in the entire world. Period.
I mean,
we're lucky to just get to watch it. So
I feel the luckiest. Yeah, just knowing F9's coming up. Well, Luda, thanks again for joining us and becoming a part of the Binge family. We really appreciated it and talking Too Fast.
Thank you guys, man.